So just a few years ago, I was this person who was simply incapable of focusing on things for too long. It's like I was constantly distracted and could not sit still. My ability to think deeply about things was non-existent. My sleep schedule was whack. I remember going to the bed each night and just tossing and turning for ages and not being able to fall asleep, and then just waking up the next day by the sound of the alarm, feeling super fatigued and sleep deprived. I remember smelling like a skunk after a workout, like my sweat had a foul odor. I had low levels of energy, felt unmotivated, and almost as if I was partially asleep. Little did I know this was all because of what I was eating, what I was putting into my system. The mainstream narrative was that I should eat a bowl of cereal as soon as I wake up, have a good heavy breakfast full of complex carbs. I should be eating pounds and pounds of salad, and that I should eat a bunch of small meals 4 times a day. Additionally, I was programmed to believe that I should not be consuming too much meat, dairy, or eggs because of reasons X, Y, and Z. I slowly began to realize that the mainstream wisdom around the topic of what exactly is healthy for the body is not really helpful, and kind of made me feel miserable and shitty. And not just me, just look at the most people around you. They're all fat, obese, and suffer from all kinds of health issues. I too had a bunch of fast food addictions at this point. I really did try to quit all these things, but I never really could. Somehow this advice of eating junk food or unhealthy food in moderation simply did not work for me or those around me. It's almost as if these things, by their very nature, are designed to get you hooked, and therefore it's not possible to moderate their usage. I realized something needed to change. I needed to make a drastic change in my diet. This is when I got introduced to fasting. So I started by doing short fasts that lasted roughly 14 to 16 hours, and as the days went on, I started feeling better. Fasting reduced that brain fog that I constantly felt, and for once I was able to think really clearly without any form of confusion. I gradually extended my fasts to roughly 20 to 23 hours and started feeling even better. During this phase, I felt like I was detoxifying my body. After years and years of abusing my digestive system, not eating for long durations really felt good. During a fast, your body begins to consume all the decaying non-functional cells that it carries around with it. Getting rid of all that extra weight made me feel light. Not just physically, but mentally too. Foods that I was previously consuming, such as bread, sugar, chocolates, oats, soft drinks, were causing my body a lot of inflammation. Not only that, but I was also addicted to these things, and my body almost had these uncontrollable cravings that could only be described as ants crawling inside me. Hence, it was almost impossible for me to break free or maintain a healthy diet of any kind. What I realized was that when I was fasting, I did not crave these things at all. It's almost like my brain forgot about them. It felt like fasting eroded those unhealthy brain patterns, and at the same time, my mood elevated. I felt motivated and highly energetic. You see, consuming a bunch of carbs from unhealthy sources the first thing in the morning had sedated me. When you consume too much food, your body begins to allocate a lot of energy into trying to digest this food, and in turn you feel too tired to do other things. But once I started fasting and experienced what it was like to be empty stomach, I realized that I performed a lot better cognitively when I was not full and loaded. I was no longer drowsy. Additionally, with the elevated focus and motivation that I got from fasting, I went from being productive for just 1 to 2 hours a day to 5 to 7 hours a day. The difference in my levels of productivity was astounding. So with fasting, I was able to detoxify my body and get rid of a bunch of addictions. However, there was a problem. Fasting for 20 to 23 hours a day was simply not sustainable. I needed more quality nutrition in me, and eating 1 meal a day was just not enough. Additionally, after a few weeks of fasting, I realized my performance in the gym took a dip. So while fasting did serve as a great tool, I realized that my diet was still not optimal. This is when I started to eat a meat-centered diet. I shortened my fast to about 14 to 15 hours just so they provide that good old maintenance dose. And I began to consume 2 large meals a day. Around 70% of the calories that I got from these meals was from meats such as ground beef, steak, fish, chicken, and liver. And the remaining 30% of the calories was in the form of carbs from sources such as honey, fruits, This combination of 14 to 15 hours of fasting and 2 meals primarily consisting of meats and fruits had a dramatic impact on my life. It was like getting the best of both worlds. I felt energetic and explosive while still holding on to the benefits that fasting offered. This was also a much more sustainable plan since I was getting all the nutrients that one needs and a good amount of calories. There is a night and day difference in my mood. Back then I was this sedated zombie eating all these complex inflammation causing carbs. This led to me having constant brain fog and fatigue. Changing my diet such that it incorporates elements of fasting, meats and fruits has been a game changer for me. There you have it folks. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, and if you're interested in content that revolves around self-improvement and productivity, do subscribe to the channel. Until next time, keep improving.